Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today for our Student Life at Queen's webinar. We are really glad that you've joined us. We know you could be out enjoying that sunshine, but you have chosen to come and join us today. So thank you for that, and you're very welcome. Just to kick things off, whether or not you have already applied for Queen's or you're thinking about applying and you just want a wee bit more information about what's involved in student life and what it's like to be a student at Queen's, well, you've come to the right place. That's what we're going to be telling you about today. My name is Raymond Miller. I am the Undergraduate Recruitment Officer for Northern Ireland and EU, and I'm here with my colleague Matt Weatherall, who is the Undergraduate Recruitment Officer for Great Britain. Matt is going to kick the presentation off in just a moment or two, but just to let you all know that once we finish our presentation, so Matt will present first and then I will finish, we will be opening up the chat box, and that will give you an opportunity to ask us any questions that you might have about anything. That chat feature is private, so any questions that you ask will go directly to us, and nobody else in the webinar will be able to see those, so you can fire away and ask us whatever you want. So without further ado, I'll just hand over to Matt.
Thanks, Raymond. Hi, everybody. Thank you again for deciding to watch today. Hopefully the information that we give you today will be really useful for you. We're going to talk about student life at Queen's University. And I think initially it's really important to point out that Belfast itself is a really vibrant and popular destination. It's a cultural and political capital of Northern Ireland, so there's lots of different things to do when you actually get to Belfast. But as well as that political capital, it's also the artistic capital. Belfast has a university life at its core. So when you come to study with us, not only are you becoming a Queen's University student, but you're also becoming a part of that Belfast environment and culture. And it's a really safe and friendly city to come and live in. There's lots of exciting things to do. And also it's got the lowest cost of student living in the UK, which I'll touch a little bit on later. But that's really important to yourselves because it means that you'll have more money in your pocket to do different things. And you might notice the picture behind there is the Dark Edges, which you might recognise from Game of Thrones. And there's lots of other things to do outside Belfast within Northern Ireland. So, for example, as you can see there, that's the Giant's Causeway. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and that's just one example of something you can do within Northern Ireland outside of Belfast. That's maybe an hour away via car or public transport. That's just one example of something that you can do outside of Belfast within Northern Ireland. One of the first things I did when I went to Northern Ireland is to go on a Game of Thrones tour, and there's lots of different things like that. If you're interested in those kind of, like Game of Thrones, for example, you can do that yourself as well. In terms of getting here, Belfast itself has lots of fantastic transport links in and around Belfast and to the rest of Northern Ireland as well. If you're coming from Great Britain, then you're looking at about an hour's flying time from all major UK cities. And there's lots of options in terms of where you can fly from, but also where you can fly to. So there's 2 airports within Belfast that you can access, but also Dublin Airport's only 90 minutes away. So you do have lots of options getting to Belfast. And there's also the ferry available as well, if you wanted to do that cross-channel ferry to get to Belfast. If you're a GB student, we do also offer a GB scholarship that might help you pay for some of the transport costs, but it's not incredibly expensive and it doesn't take a very long time. So I really recommend looking into that yourself. In terms of Belfast itself, so the city, as I've said, it's the capital city and the cultural centre of Northern Ireland. So there's lots of different things to do. It's a small, compact, walkable city. So again, for yourselves, what that means is actually you're not going to have to spend a lot of money to get around Belfast. The students that you can see in the picture there, that's the town hall behind them. So that's about a 20-minute slow walk to the university. So you can spend a bit more time looking around Belfast and looking at it yourself. It's a friendly place to go, and there's lots of really good attractions to go to and visit while you're in Belfast. So pulling out a couple, like Ulster Museum, for example, that's right next to the university. So you can go in there and look at the museum. Then you've got things like Crumlin Road Jail, which again is within Belfast, and there's lots of different options to go and look around. In terms of Belfast nightlife, I won't go on about it too much, but it's a brilliant place to come for that experience and that nightlife. Not only just nightclubs, there's big nightclubs if that's what you're interested in, but you've also got things like traditional pubs and live music venues where you can listen to traditional Irish music. You can go to sports bars or cocktail bars. So really the important thing to recognise is there's an option for everybody. No matter what you want from your social life or from your nightlife, there's lots of varied options within Belfast itself. Then in terms of shopping, you've got massive shopping centres with all the high street brands like the Victoria Square and Castle Court. And you've also got places like St George's Market, which is my favourite personally. There's lots of boutique options in there and lots of smaller cafes that you can look around, and lots of good eating options as well. So I'd really recommend when you come over to look at St George's Market and experience that. And just before I show you this next video, I've got this next slide, I've got a quick video to show you that's going to highlight Belfast itself. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of a few of the things that you can do within Belfast. But in terms of why choose Queen's University, I know a few of you might have already applied, or a few of you might be pre-applicants and looking to apply to the university. But we're ranked 173rd in the world, so that shows the quality of the teaching and the prestige that the university is held within. So when you leave university and you go in looking for jobs, your degree is going to be held in a really high esteem. That's also reflecting the fact that we're 9th oldest university in the UK, and that shows that that quality is there is lasting. So your degree isn't going to be good for the next 6 months, the next 6 years. It's going to be good for a long time as well. We're ranked 16th in the world for international outlook. So again, for you as a student, it means that you're going to get a really rich experience at university, that you're going to meet lots of different people from different cultures and backgrounds. But also, if you choose to go and work abroad, your university degree is going to be recognised in a number of other countries because of the high esteem that we're held within. And we're also a member of the Russell Group. And for those of you aware of the Russell Group is a group of leading universities that lead within the cutting edge of research, so we're research intensive. And again, for yourselves, what that means is that what you're going to be learning from your academics is cutting edge material. So it's going to be the material that's right at the forefront of the industry that you're interested in, so that when you leave the university and you go into industry, actually what you're going to be able to see is the fact that you already know what's happening right now, what's at the cutting edge of that industry. So at Queen's University, we have 3 different faculties. We have the Arts, Humanities and Social Science faculty, Engineering and Physical Science, and also Medicine, Health and Life Sciences. And those 3 faculties are divided up into different schools. So it might be that you are looking to go to the Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences. You're interested in studying anthropology because it's ranked 13th in the country. That anthropology course is within the School of History, Anthropology, Philosophy and Politics. And what I'd recommend doing is spending a bit of time looking at those different courses and looking at the different courses within your school and seeing where that crossover is. Like I said, some of these courses are really highly ranked. So you've got English and Creative Writing there that's ranked 8th in the country. But that's just one of our faculties. Another faculty is the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences. And again, you can see there the School of Chemistry and Chemical Engineering, with Chemical Engineering course ranked 15th in the country. Planning and Environment and Development ranked 6th in the country. So again, it shows the excellence of the teaching within these individual schools. And the Faculty of Medicine, Health and Life Sciences, dentistry and medicine courses are always really popular and again, really well taught. But then you've got things like pharmacy, which is ranked 2nd in the country. So again, take a bit of time to look at those subjects and to look at those schools. I have got a quick video to show you around a day in the life of 3 different students from these 3 different faculties. So as you can see there in that video, there's some fantastic facilities within all of these different schools that you can take advantage of should you come and study with us. So we recognise at Queen's University that money is a really important part of coming to university and that it does matter to students. And there's a few things to point out. Northern Ireland has the lowest student cost of living in the UK. So that means that you'll have more money in your pocket to go and do things. So some of the fantastic things that I've been telling you about that are available in Belfast, actually you'll be more readily available to do it because you'll have more money available to you. And you can see that again there with the over £5,000 per year cheaper for students to live in Northern Ireland compared to London. And again, one of the things that you could start to think about is if you were going to go to one of those more expensive cities like London or Edinburgh, then actually where would you have to find that shortfall in money? So would you have to work more? Would you have to save more? So they're all different things that you can start to consider as well. hopefully you found that useful. What I'm going to do now is pass you over to my colleague Raymond, who'll talk to you a little bit more about life at Queen's.
Thanks very much, Matt. As Matt has just mentioned there, and just to pick up on that, we recognise that it can be a bit of a financial strain for some people, and we don't want anybody to be disadvantaged. And one way in which we help with that is through our scholarships. So we have a number of different scholarships that reward hard work and excellence. So the first of those is our GB undergraduate scholarship. This is for students from England, Scotland, Wales, the Isle of Man, or the Channel Islands. And this gives you an opportunity, if you're from any of those regions, to receive up to £2,500 off your fees each year, or £1,750 off your fees each year, plus some lifestyle benefits. So those are things like a gym membership, movie passes, and payment for flights home, among other things. If you would like to enter into the entrance scholarship competition, that is for any students who gain at least 3 A's at A level. If you get 3 A's at A level, you'll be eligible to enter that competition, and through it you can receive rewards of between £600 and £2,400. That is money that you have earned through your excellence and your hard work and your performance, and so you can spend it on anything you want, whether it be accommodation or books and equipment, or you can go on a shopping spree in St George's Market or one of the other shopping places that Matt mentioned earlier. It's totally up to you. It's money that you have earned, and you can spend it as you see fit. Another scholarship we offer are sports scholarships, and there are a few different variations of these. So all of our sports scholarships offer some sort of financial reward, but they do vary slightly. So our elite athlete program, this is for people with a proven track record at junior or senior international level, or if you've participated in an Olympic Games or a World and European Championships, you would be eligible for the elite athlete program. It offers the financial rewards, but also that academic flexibility. So if you have a big competition or a big match coming up, then you would speak to your advisor of studies and you would work out, could you possibly delay your deadline to work around the big match? Also, there is different strength and conditioning support, sports medicine support, there's sports clothing, physiotherapy support. So there's loads of things you get as an elite athlete. In terms of academy scholarships then, if you have a proven track record at any of the 5 key priority sports at Queen's, which are rugby, soccer, GAA, hockey, and rowing, then you would be eligible for an academy scholarship. And if you have a proven track record of success in any other sport, you would be eligible for a sports bursary. So there's lots of information on that, which you can go and have a look at if it affects you at all. At Queen's, we are really proud of our campus. So it's a campus where we feel you can study, relax, and socialise. Yes, you're going to university to work hard and get the best degree that you can, but we also want you to have fun and socialise with people and meet new people. And to allow you to do that, we have invested over £350 million in the last 10 years into our facilities on campus. And we're going to match that in the next 10 years and invest a further £350 million. We have a real mixture of historic buildings within Queen's, like the Lanyon building, which you can see in the background of that photograph. But we've also used the investment money to update our facilities and make them more tech savvy and more up to date. So ways in which we've done that are through our interactive lecture theatres. We have a Sonic Arts Research Centre, which a lot of the music students would use, working with music and sound. We also have a number of film studios. There are flight simulators. We have state-of-the-art computer suites. So there are lots of different facilities for your study, but also a number of facilities, like I say, where you can go to relax and hang out with people. So that would be things like our Students' Union, where we've got a brand new Students' Union that's being built at the moment that you could avail of. We also have a number of different cafes around the campus, like Hope Cafe and Junction Cafe. And then we have a number of wellbeing rooms that you can avail of as well. This next video just gives you an overview of all the different facilities on campus, or most of the facilities on campus, to give you a flavour of what it's like. And all of the facilities that you're going to see here are within about a 30-minute walking distance of each other. So they're all nice and close. So if you do decide to come and study at Queen's, inevitably you'll want to stay in one of our accommodation locations. If you do choose to travel, that's absolutely fine, but for most people, they will stay in Queen's accommodation. We have 3 accommodation locations. They're called BT1, Elms BT1, Elms BT2, and they're both based in the city centre. And then we have Elms BT9, or Elms Village, as it's more commonly known. There's a guaranteed place of accommodation for first year students, and we have over 340 rooms available at varying different prices. So they would be priced between £75 and £149 per week. Now that on the face of it may seem slightly expensive for some people, but when you consider that your rent includes all your utility bills, so your electricity, your heating, your hot water are all covered within that. It also includes cleaning service for the communal areas. They won't come in and clean your room, but there are a number of different communal areas that you can avail of. There is high-speed Wi-Fi that you will get. Also within your rent, you get your content insurance covered, so all your belongings would be covered and insured. There is a TV license for all the communal areas. There's 24-hour security, so you can feel safe and secure. And there's also a postal service that you can avail of within accommodation. So if you're making any online orders for anything, it will be sorted for you at reception, and you won't have to go pick them up in a post office or anything like that. So that's all included within your rent. And whenever you couple that with the fact that Northern Ireland has the lowest student cost of living in the UK, it makes for a pretty good deal. We have a number of people on our accommodation locations called residential life officers. And these are people who are there to help and support you settle into your accommodation and settle into university life. There are a few more senior residential life officers, but there are also a number of residential assistants who are current students at Queen's. So you're getting real hands-on experience from current students. Just to give you an example of some of the things that the residential life officers would do, they would organise certain events and trips for you. So for example, this was taken a few months ago. This was on a Monday night, they had karaoke. There was a gym class on the Wednesday. On Thursday, there was a quiz. And then at the weekend, they will often run different trips that you can avail of. So in this particular weekend, there was a trip to Slieve Donard, which is a big mountain range in Northern Ireland. And there was also a trip to Belfast Zoo. And I know the residential life officers often organise different trips to IKEA at the start of the academic year. So you can buy a few bits and pieces and get your whole room kitted out. So that's a really good part of living in Queen's accommodation. Just to go back on price as well. So we mentioned it's from £75 to £149. £75 would be if you're sharing with someone. If you got a standard room, it would be £110 per week. An ensuite is £124. And if you were living in Elms BT1 or Elms BT2, a studio room would be £149 per week. When you compare those prices to privately renting in Belfast, it does come out a lot cheaper. And one of the main reasons for that is because you can take out a 38-week contract within Queen's. So you would only pay for the time that you're actually staying there, as opposed to if you're living in Belfast in a private rental accommodation, you would have to pay for the 52 weeks. So you would be paying for time during the summer that you're not even in Belfast. The Macleay Library is somewhere where you should spend a lot of time. For the vast majority of you will spend a lot of time in here. It is the main library at Queen's. It's used by over 10,000 students every day. And it's not like any kind of small, dusty, not very appealing library that you might have in your mind. It's a really state-of-the-art, spacious, luxurious library. It has a number of computer suites that you can avail of. There is different rooms for doing group work. There's obviously quiet areas for quiet study and reflection. There's a large number of special collections you can avail of too. So that would be a large number of books and maps and photographs and different manuscripts that actually date back to the 12th century. So you can either use those within your academic work, or you can just go and have a look at those just out of your own personal interest. There's also a dedicated language centre within the Macleay Library. So if you wanted to learn a new language, you could do that through the services that the library offer. So it would be, there are over 20 different languages you can learn, and one of those includes sign language, but I know that's a really popular course. So if you wanted to do that, you can, but you need to sign up early. Within the library as well, Matt spoke to you about the different faculties, the 3 faculties that we have at Queen's. And then within each faculty, there are a number of different schools. Whatever school you would be part of, that school would have an area within the library. So for example, the School of Law has its own dedicated area within the library. And if you needed resources for any work that you're doing, you would go directly to your school area within the library. And then the final thing just to mention is the C.S. Lewis Reading Room. This is my favorite part of the library. C.S. Lewis was a famous author who wrote books like the Screwtape Letters, Prince Caspian, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, to name a few. And the room that's dedicated to his work, the door to that room is based on the door from The Lion, the Witch and the wardrobe door from that. So if you get a chance to go see that, it's pretty cool, if nothing else. Sport at Queen's plays a really important life for students and staff alike. It's a great place, the sporting facilities that we have, and we really encourage you to get involved in that because we know the benefit that sport has on both your physical and your mental well-being. We're really proud of our facilities. We have a number of indoor and outdoor facilities at Queen's. The biggest and main one would probably be the PEC, or the Physical Education Centre. This includes a state-of-the-art gym and weights area. It has over 100 weekly exercise classes, and it has a 25-metre swimming pool, a diving pool and a sauna. There are different climbing walls and squash and badminton courts and 3G pitches. So anything you want to get involved with sporting related, you would go to the PEC for that. But coupled with that, within Elms BT1, there's a gym attached to that accommodation block, and there's also 20 exercise classes that would happen there. If you want to get outside to enjoy your sport and maybe play for one of the teams, if you wanted specifically to play for hockey, rugby, soccer or GAA teams, you would do that at Upper Malone playing fields. And we also have a boathouse right on the River Lagan for anybody that wants to do any rowing, as you can see in the picture there. This picture is just an image of the Physical Education Centre, just to show you what that's like. Some of you might be thinking, Raymond, move on, don't want to hear about sport, but I want to emphasize that anyone can get involved at any level at sport at Queen's, and this video just shows you how you can do that.
The Participation Sport programme at Queen's aims to get students and staff at all levels involved in forms of physical activity, social sport and fitness here at Queen's.
I think if you just come to one of the programmes, you see how much fun and enjoyment everyone's having, and you realise it's a big step to take at the start, but once you do, I don't think there's any going back. We use the terminology, find your level. Whether you're a performance athlete, we want you to come and play at Queen's, or whether you're someone that has just decided they want to get fit and they're not sure how to, that's when they fall into Active Campus.
Our Active Campus programme has delivered over 35 different initiatives this year, engaged with over 4,000 students and staff, from our Kids to 5K programmes through to our intramural social sport activities, right up until some mass participation events like our Queen's 5K race or swim-a-thon, come and try events as well. This new investment in facilities at BT1 have given us all a drive to work better and closer together, along with our colleagues in accommodation, with the Students' Union, student wellbeing teams, to really create a truly active campus.
We're delighted with our facilities down here in BT1 and great feedback from the students. They can access these world-class facilities on their doorstep. Through our class programme at Queen's, we try and engage as many of our staff and students as possible. We support initiatives like Mental Health Awareness Week, International Women's Day, and we work very closely with disability and wellbeing services and Student Plus in general, just to try and engage as many young people as possible. We run about 100 classes and courses per week at Queen's, and now with the new added timetable at BT1, we're up to about 120 classes per week. There's a great community, who participate in our classes, and regardless of your ability, you can improve, and you can then filter into some of our club programmes, or social sport, development clubs, and you can take that as far as you want.
sport has a real positive role to play in opening our arms out to welcome everyone, no matter what background, to Queen's.
So hopefully that shows you that no matter what level you're at, whether you've never done sport before or you're currently playing at an elite level, you can get involved in sport at Queen's. Another really important thing about going to university and going to Queen's especially is the Students' Union. Our Students' Union are currently ranked 7th in the UK for student experience, and their motto are, they are your rock, making your life at Queen's enriching, rewarding and fun. And that's what it's all about. Yes, you're going to study and you're going to work hard, but you want to use university and your time at university to really experience new things, meet people with different views to you, and go to new places. And you can do all that through the Students' Union. One way in which you can be actively involved in that is through the student voice. So if you can get elected as either a student officer or a part-time student officer or a student councillor or a school or a course rep. And that means that you can stand up for what you believe in and put some points across that really support you and your peers as well. Another way to get involved with the union is through Volunteer SU. So there's lots of different opportunities to volunteer with projects. If you want to make the community a better place, you can do that through the help of the Students' Union. They have a unit called Enterprise SU. So if you have a budding business idea that maybe isn't related to your course, but you really want help and support in getting that off the ground, Enterprise SU can do that. They run a number of development or business skills workshops, and they do different development ideas in which you can progress your business idea. And that's done through the support they offer, but also through different events that they showcase. So things like a Dragon's Den or an apprentice style event that they run throughout the year. And then we also have Advice SU. So if you need help or advice about anything to do with university, whether that be accommodation or money or funding or meeting people or your well-being, Advice SU can help you with that or direct you to somebody that can help you. But probably the main thing that people think of when they think of Students' Union are the different clubs and societies. And at Queen's we have a rich array of clubs and societies. There are over 250 registered clubs at the moment, and 11,000 student members would get involved with those each year. And they really do range from A, well, all the way up to Y. I didn't quite get one for Z. But if you look along this list, it's things like cheerleading, Dragon Slayers. So the Dragon Slayers are our gaming club. And the cheerleaders, just to mention, they actually went to the World Cheerleading Championships last year in Florida. So they're a really great club. There's History Club, juggling, we have origami, Quidditch. There's even a Quidditch club you can get involved with, robotics, underwater hockey. There is loads you can get involved with. And if there is a potential club that you would love to get involved with and it doesn't already exist, the Students' Union have mechanisms in place to support you to set up your own club and help that flourish. And it means you would be either the president or the chairperson or the secretary or treasurer of that particular club. So as well as enjoying the activity that you love, you're also building experience that could be used further down the line whenever you're looking at jobs. Something that we really encourage everyone to do if they get the opportunity is to internationalize your Queen's experience by doing a wee bit of travel or study or work abroad opportunities. Why we encourage that so much is because it really broadens your horizons. It allows you to see different cultures and how different people live, and that can be fed back into your own university experience and your own degree. And it also gives you an edge in the job market. It gives you something to talk about in interviews, it gives you something to write about in CVs. We have over 700 Queen's students who partake in different international programs each year, and they vary in terms of the amount of time that they can take while on that experience. So it could be from a couple of weeks all the way up to a full year. This slide just kind of gives you an overview of the range of different opportunities that we offer across the whole world. So across the Americas, Europe, Africa, Australia, and Asia as well. Just to pinpoint a few, we have a program called Study China. So that allows you to experience Chinese life and culture for up to 3 to 4 weeks. There's also the Erasmus program. So if you want to stay a bit closer to home, the Erasmus program happens in Europe, and it means that you can study, work, or teach as part of your degree in a European country. And this is usually for a full semester you would go away for. And then the final one just to talk about is Study USA. This is a study program where you would go and do a business related course for 1 year in an American institution. So you could be studying anything at Queen's, doesn't matter. You can go away and study business in the US for a full year and then come back and resume your course in Queen's. This video just gives you a wee bit of an outline as to what that would be like. A student called Amy talking about her experience of her international travel.
When I applied for Queen's to do law with French, I didn't think my year abroad would make me so much more employable. But from being on it, I can safely say that it's mentioned in every single application form and every single interview. Last year, I spent a year abroad in France. So I went to Toulouse because it's more southern and I like the sun. You don't actually have to just study a language to go away. There's the Erasmus program. Then there's also Study USA. I think I had one friend in New York, another one in Washington. I know another girl who actually went to China. So there's a lot of opportunities of travel. If I'm honest, you think you're independent when you come to university, but you're not independent until you move to another country. It just shows people that you're not afraid to take risks and to throw yourself into new situations. It makes that CV look good.
So as Amy said there, it makes the CV look good. It shows that you have a wee bit of independence and that you're not afraid to take risks. And those are all things that employers are looking for. So as well as wanting you to experience those different things and those new cultures, we want to help you in terms of employment and help you gain a competitive edge when it comes to finding employment. Another way in which we do that is through our Degree Plus program. So this effectively allows you to gain an accreditation for work-related activities that you do around the university. So that could be things like becoming a campus tour guide, or a campus tour guide would show students and their prospective students and their families around the university and around the campus. Or you could become a student ambassador, where you would go back to your school and you would talk about your experience of Queen's to all the students who are in your old school. Or student ambassadors often help us out with different big events that we're doing, like open days or road shows. And then you can also join different homework clubs. There are a number of leadership skills programs. There are business skills programs you can get involved with. Basically, most things you do outside of your academic work can help you towards gaining that Degree Plus accreditation. And having a Degree Plus accreditation is recognised and supported by employers. And we have over 2,200 Queen's students who do it every year, and they will tell you the benefit of doing that. And one way in which we could reiterate that is that we're having a student panel tomorrow, which I'll talk to you a wee bit about later. And some of our students have actually got involved with Degree Plus in that as well, so you could speak to them about that. A degree from Queen's as well is also really important in terms of employability. So 96% of our undergraduates are either in further study or full-time employment 6 months after they graduate. And Queen's graduates are also in senior leadership positions in 80 out of Northern Ireland's top 100 companies. So not only are our students finding work, but they're also excelling in that work after they graduate from Queen's. So through it all, through your academic work and your extracurricular stuff and anything else that you want to get involved with, we are there to support you every step of the way. And your well-being is a priority for us at Queen's. One way in which we support you academically is through your academic support in terms of an advisor of studies. So you would be assigned an advisor of studies whenever you enroll with the university. And that would be your main point of contact for any of the academic work queries that you have. If you need a wee bit of help with things within your degree, so things like study skills or academic writing or time management skills, you can go to your advisor of studies, or you could also go to the Learning Development Service. And this is a service that helps you through all those issues that you might be having. You can either have a one-on-one session or a group session with some friends, or you can also do different things online to help with that. In terms of career and employability skills, we have a designated careers, employability and skills service, and they're there to help you become more employable after you graduate. So they offer things like an insight into management course. So for anybody that wants to go on to become a manager, There are different team-based business challenges that they offer, and you can develop things like teamwork and leadership skills and problem solving. There's also different internships and volunteering programs that you can get involved with, whether that be in your particular sector or further afield. There are development weeks, so these are weeks in which you can try different activities that isn't related to your course, and it kind of gives you a broader horizon of the sorts of things that you could get involved with. I've spoken about Advice SU already. They're there to support you in anything you need, but we also have support through our counselling and advice services and our wellbeing services. And if you do have any level of disability, whether that be physical, sensory impairments, any sort of, if you're on the autistic spectrum in any form, or you have specific learning difficulties, the disability service can help you through that. They can provide you with a number of different adjustments that you might need. So whether that be use of equipment or extra time in exams or whatever would happen to be, we can support you through that. What are your next steps then? So ask questions. We are going to open up the chat box shortly, and you'll be able to ask us, myself and Matt, any questions that you might have. But do your research, go onto our social media platforms, email us, look on our website, and you will discover all the information that you need. And if you have any queries, please get in touch with us. I mentioned briefly about our student panel that we're having tomorrow. So we've named this event our Meet Our Students Q&A. So if you want to talk to current Queen's students about what it's like at Queen's, you can sign up for that. That's happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. And if you just go to that website on screen, you will find the online events section where you can sign up and register for that. And then we will also be running this event again. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday. So if you know anybody that's thinking about coming to Queen's, you can either show them the recording of this, or you can send them every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Myself and Matt will be doing this talk so that you can get a real flavour of what it's like at Queen's. So I'm just going to open up the chat box. It should now be open. And like I mentioned before, you can chat to Matt and I. We are happy to answer any queries or questions that you might have. Again, it's totally private, so any question that you put into this, only Matt and myself will see it. So feel free to share anything that you want on there. One question actually that came in before we started this, someone had asked, are there many opportunities to get part-time jobs while studying at Queen's? So that's a really good question. Like I mentioned, Degree Plus gives you a real range of opportunities that you can do. So the campus tour guide or student panels or events like open days. But you can also work for the Students' Union, in the bar, or retail staff, or anything like that. And those are different opportunities and employment opportunities that you can do, which allow you to enhance your skills.
Yeah, I would say as well on that, lots of students when they go to university work, and it's actually a really good opportunity, not even to just get extra money, which is important, but also to extend those skills that'll then make you more employable after university, as well as also actually meeting new people and developing another sort of social group to help you settle in.
Perfect. Let's see. We've got a question in there, Matt. You see that one?
So a question has just come in. Are you going to be having a virtual open day at some point for those applying in 2021?
Yeah, so we have an open day every year, and we're definitely having that this year. But it just sort of needs fleshed out a wee bit at the moment. So obviously with everything that's going on, we're working through that. We're catering for all possibilities at the moment, working on government guidelines, and an updated message will be available soon. But we are working towards the potential of a physical open day and also a virtual open day. So stay tuned for more details on that.
Okay, brilliant. And we've had another question come in saying, what makes your university unique?
Well, I think the first thing to mention, if you're looking at it from an academic point of view, it would certainly be the fact that we're one of the 24 Russell Group universities in the UK. So that is, so we're in a group of universities there, as Matt mentioned, that are research intensive. It means that you're getting the most up-to-date knowledge for your sector. So if you're going out into the working world, you'll have been working with academics who are already carrying out groundbreaking research, and it means that the information you're getting and being given is as up to date as possible. So that would certainly be one unique selling point of the university. I mean, we're really proud of the support that we can offer students. So all the various things that we mentioned there, we have our own careers and employability service. We have our own disability and wellbeing services. So everything outside of the academic world, we can certainly cater for your needs. And I feel that makes us unique. Anything you would add to that, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's really important as well when you're looking at universities to look at what's important to yourself. And Queen's have lots of things in place that make us unique to help you make those decisions. So what I'd suggest is doing a bit more research, and the fact that you're listening to this is obviously a really good start. And look a bit more into what we do. But if you do have any specific questions, just let us know.
Sorry, Matt, just as well there, just to mention, we have over 200 undergraduate courses. You know, that is something that's quite unique. We offer a really broad range of courses that you can study. So check out those courses and check out the rankings, because we have 14 now in the top 20 in the UK. So we have really good teaching in a lot of our courses.
Yep. Another question that's coming here is there a bus or other transit from the accommodation to the campus?
So there is. So it depends which accommodation you would be staying in. BT1 and BT2 are right in the city centre, right in the heart of the city, and there are loads of bus routes that can bring you into campus, into wherever your particular area of study is. What I would say is you don't need to spend money on it. You can just walk. The weather isn't bad all the time, as you might have heard from people. It can be really good a lot of the time, and you can just walk to different places. Going from BT1 to BT2 into the main Lanyon building, which is just in the image you can see in the background there, takes about 20 minutes. If you're going from Elms Village, Elms BT9, into the main Lanyon building, the main campus, it's probably taking you around 10, 15 minutes. So everywhere's really walkable. But if you do need to travel with public transport, there are plenty of routes available to get you around the city.
And we've had another question come in. Are there many mature undergraduate students that attend Queen's? And what are the criteria for mature students to get a place, please?
So mature students, there are a number of mature students, yes. I wouldn't be able to just put an exact figure on that one. But certainly we're very welcoming to mature students, and they get as good an experience as the undergraduate students as well. There is specific accommodation for some mature students that they can avail of. So, you know, they maybe don't want to be doing as much socializing as some undergraduate students might choose to do. So you can live in slightly quieter accommodation. We have an accommodation webinar which we carried out. So you could look at that, and that would give you a bit of an insight into that as well. Or you could contact accommodation about that. But certainly to answer your question, yes, lots of mature students, and we can help you get in touch with other mature students if you wanted to, get to know people in the same situation as you.
And in terms of the criteria for entry, it's the same criteria, so there's no difference for mature students as well. So another question that's come in from James: when moving to Queen's, I will hopefully be living in Belfast full time. If the accommodation is only 38-week contract, what would be the options for the other 14 weeks before I return for the next year of study? Would there be an option to extend the contract?
Yeah, so absolutely. What most people do is stay for 38 weeks and then go home for the summer. But if you want to stay for the full summer term, there's absolutely no problem in doing that. You can just take out a longer agreement with accommodation. And it can be quite nice during the summer if you're not heading home or whatever. Obviously, it'll be slightly quieter, but you'll get to know other people in a similar situation as you, where they're staying in Belfast over the summer term. All the accommodation staff are still there throughout the summer. You're still getting the security. You're still getting your insurance, your contents insurance covered. You're still getting all the benefits of living in Queen's accommodation. So yes, you can extend your contract if that's something that you wish to do. There's another one that's come in here, Matt. How far is Elms Village from the gym? So earlier I was speaking about Elms Village BT9. It is about a 10-minute walk away from the physical education centre, so from the main gym. It's about a 20-minute walk from the boathouse if you wanted to get involved in rowing. And it's about a mile and a half away from Malone playing fields. So if you were going from Elms Village to the playing fields, you would probably need to take public transport or get a lift. At the Malone playing fields, it's all your team sports, so you maybe want to get a lift with someone in your team up to training and that sort of thing. But it's all very accessible to get around to that. BT1 has its own gym for residents living in Elms BT1. So I guess to answer that question, Elms to the PEC, the main gym, is 10 minutes, but there are other options there available for you.
Are there any more questions that people would like to submit?
Yeah, feel free to fire away. We, if there is anything that people want to ask and they think about retrospectively, feel free to contact us. Our email address is there, so it's studentrecruitment@qub.ac.uk. Drop us an email and we will get back to you with all the information that you need. Let me see. I've had another one here, Matt. So somebody is asking, does it cost anything to join your different clubs and societies? So there is a nominal membership charge. It will be very small depending on the club. We're not talking a big massive fee. Once you would sign up for your different clubs and societies, you would be given you'll be asked to pay a small fee. That may be a monthly fee or every time you go to the club, or an annual fee. But like I say, you're talking £1 to maybe £5 at a max. So it is fairly affordable to join those different clubs and societies.
Mm-hmm. And another question that's come in, is there parking for students in the city?
So in terms of parking in the city accommodation, there are a few spaces, but you would have to apply for a permit for that. And then in terms of the wider city of Belfast, there are lots of different pay and display areas where you can get parked. I mean, if you're ever driving through Belfast, it's not hard to find a parking space. There are plenty of spaces you can use. And if you were living in Elms BT9, there is parking available. It is a first come, first served basis, and you would pay, I think it's 70p per day for that. So no guaranteed parking. Honestly, if you're coming from further afield, you probably won't need it because Belfast and Queens is so walkable. But there is certain parking available. But if you wanted to know what the parking available for your accommodation is, you would have to contact the accommodation, Queens Accommodation directly for that one. But certainly 70p a day in BT9.
And another question that's coming here about the accommodation. Are students able to pick which of the accommodation they stay in, or are they allocated one?
So lots of questions about accommodation as well. But to answer that one specifically, you would generally first year students would go into Elms BT9 and Elms Village, and there is a good reason for that. It would be closest to the main campus, so you're close to your studies. It also, if we keep all the first year students together, it gives you that opportunity to mix with like-minded people and your peers when you first join university. And I know a lot of the students would kind of often say to me, whenever they first moved in, they left all their doors open so that people could come in and out as they were unloading their stuff, so that they could meet people in their own flat and that sort of thing. So to answer your question, you can live in the city centre if you wish. It would have to be on request through accommodation. But generally, most students would go to BT9, the Elms Village, and that is so that you can all mix together and get a really good immersive first experience of Queens together. Grand. Listen, I think there's not too many more questions coming through there, Matt. I think we'll probably finish up there. Just to mention again, we are having a student panel tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Go sign up for that now. If you go to Queen's undergraduate study page, you will be able to sign up for that, and that will allow you to speak directly to the students who are living this day in, day out, and they'll give you a really good insight into that. If you have any other queries about what Matt and I have spoken about, same time next week, at 3 p.m. We will be doing this webinar again. And equally, please get in touch with us and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.